Hello everyone, welcome to the Mute Land channel. Today we're delving into a thought-provoking, albeit grim subject. What would be the catastrophic consequences if World War III were to occur? So buckle up and stay with me until the end of the video. Let's imagine just for a moment that diplomatic relations across the globe deteriorate to the point of no return, igniting the appalling reality of a third world war. The trigger could be anything: a misunderstanding, an aggressive move, or even a rogue state or entity pushing the envelope too far. In this grim scenario, warfare wouldn't resemble past conflicts. It would be marked by swift developments and unpredictability, fueled by digital technology and advanced weaponry. No longer would war be restricted to traditional battlegrounds. Cyber warfare could entire countries, and the dreaded shadow of nuclear warfare would loom ominously over humanity. As the crisis escalates, international communities would scramble for solutions. Governments would be in high alert, with pleas for peace reverberating worldwide. But history reminds us that halting the gears of war once they've started is a Herculean task. The United Nations, established to prevent such disasters, would be put through the sternest test. Would it maintain its stance as a symbol of peace, or would it collapse under the pressure of worldwide conflict? As the terrifying pieces of this daunting puzzle fell into place, the world would watch in suspended terror. Economies would spiral into chaos, stock markets would nosedive, trade channels would be disrupted, and the cost of everyday commodities would surge as nations braced for the worst. The intricately linked global financial system would reel under the strain. Meanwhile, ordinary citizens would become unwilling participants in this global catastrophe. Lives would be upended as chaos ensued. The staggering human cost, often sidelined in war discussions, become an unavoidable reality. In this grim hypothesis, our world would be transformed dramatically and almost instantly. The ripple effect of a third world war would reverberate across the globe, reshaping our world in ways beyond our wildest comprehension. Picture this: nations scrambling to form alliances, seeking strength in unity. It's a fascinating and complex chess game, with every move, every decision carrying the potential to alter the course of history. Let's begin by envisioning the alliances that might emerge. Based on current political climates, historical ties, and shared interests, we could see some surprising partnerships. For example, the United States and Japan, bound by a mutual defense treaty since the mid-20th century, could strengthen their alliance. The same could be said for Russia and China, their relationship cemented by shared interests and a mutual desire to counterbalance Western influence. However, these alliances might not be as solid as they appear. Within these partnerships, there could be potential conflicts simmering beneath the surface. The United States and Japan, for instance, have long-standing differences over trade and military issues. Similarly, Russia and China, despite their apparent camaraderie, have had border disputes and disagreements over spheres of influence. In Europe, the landscape could be even more intricate. The European Union, a symbol of unity and cooperation, could find itself tested in the face of a global conflict. Member states might find their loyalties torn between their European partners and their national interests. Meanwhile, in the Middle East, alliances could be shaped by a complex web of religious, ethnic, and political factors. Iran and Syria, already allies in real-world conflicts, could deepen their partnership. On the other hand, Saudi Arabia and Israel, despite their public animosity, might find common ground in their shared concerns about Iran. However, these alliances would not be set in stone. They would be fluid, changing as the situation evolves, as nations reassess their interests and their options. And in the midst of this chaos, some nations might choose neutrality, seeking to avoid the conflict altogether. In the face of global conflict, alliances could form in ways we might not expect. The only certainty in this hypothetical World War III scenario is the uncertainty itself. Now, imagine some countries choosing to stand alone, remaining intact amidst the chaos. Let's start with Switzerland, a nation historically known for its neutrality. Its geographical location, nestled within the heart of Europe yet protected by the Alps, along with its political stance of non-aggression and neutrality, could potentially allow it to remain unscathed. However, this decision might not come without its challenges. The country could face economic pressures, isolation, and even potential threats from powerful warring nations. Moving on to the land down under, Australia. Its relative isolation from major global hotspots and its formidable naval capabilities might afford it the luxury of staying intact. Yet, its strong alliances could potentially draw it into the conflict. The balance between maintaining neutrality and honoring alliances might prove to be a delicate one. We then turn our gaze to the icy desolation of Antarctica. The Antarctic Treaty System prohibits any military activity, making it a potential haven of peace in a world at war. But the harsh and inhospitable climate would present a significant challenge to sustaining human life. Let's not forget about Bhutan, the Himalayan kingdom. With its tough geographical terrain and limited military capabilities, it might choose to stay out of conflicts. But its close proximity to major Asian powers might make neutrality a challenging stance to maintain. Lastly, consider Iceland, a nation located in the remote North Atlantic. Its lack of a standing military might make it an unlikely participant in a global conflict. However, its strategic location between North America and Europe could make it a target of interest. Each of these decisions to remain intact would come with its own set of challenges and benefits. On one hand, these countries could avoid the direct devastation of war. On the other hand, they might have to grapple with economic, political and social pressures, isolation, and potential threats from warring nations. Staying intact in such a global conflict could be a gamble, but also a strategic move. How might World War III reshape the political landscape of our planet? It's a question that no one wants to grapple with, but one that we must consider in the realm of hypotheticals. World War III, with its potential to unify or divide nations, could fundamentally alter international relations. Existing power dynamics would likely be upended, and the political structures that we've grown accustomed to could be rendered obsolete. Let's start with international relations. The bonds that countries have formed, through treaties and trade agreements, may either strengthen or disintegrate under the pressures of war. Allies could become enemies, and foes might find themselves sharing common ground. The war could create a new world order, far different from what we know today. Power dynamics would be another area of significant change. Countries that currently hold sway on the global stage might lose their grip, replaced by nations that were previously overlooked or underestimated. The balance of power, so delicately maintained in the present day, could tip in unforeseen directions. Political structures, too, would likely undergo drastic transformations. Democracies could crumble under the weight of war, giving rise to autocracies or other forms of government. Existing autocracies might face insurrections, leading to power vacuums and potential chaos. In the aftermath of the war, new political ideologies could emerge, reshaping the way nations are governed. But perhaps the most profound impact of World War III would be on global leadership and influence. The war could lead to shifts in leadership that would redefine the global political landscape. Countries that have long been considered superpowers might find their influence waning, and emerging nations could rise to fill the void. In this hypothetical scenario, the only certainty is uncertainty. The political aftermath of World War III could be as unpredictable as the war itself. The shifts in power, the changes in alliances, and the transformations of political structures would all contribute to a new world order that would be both unpredictable and potentially volatile. The political aftermath of World War III could be as unpredictable as the war itself. So, what have we learned from this exploration of a hypothetical World War III? We've delved into the chilling prospect of a third world war, and it's been quite a journey. Remember, we're dealing purely in hypotheticals here, but these scenarios are grounded in the current dynamics of world politics. In the imagined outbreak of this war, we saw potential sparks flying from geopolitical hotspots across the globe. The world as we know it was thrust into chaos. But even in the darkest of times, there was a semblance of order. Alliances formed, nations banded together. The alliances were not purely based on ideology or historical ties, but also on strategic benefits and shared interests. We then moved on to the nations that, hypothetically, could remain intact. These countries, due to their geographical location, political stance, or military strength, might be able to weather the storm. But remember, in a global conflict of this scale, no nation would remain entirely unaffected. The hypothetical World War III doesn't just change the physical world, it reshapes the political landscape as well. In our exploration, we saw how such a war could potentially alter the balance of power, influence ideologies, and reshape international relations. But let's take a step back. It's crucial to reflect on why we're even discussing such a grim scenario. It's not to scare or sensationalize, but to understand the intricate web of global politics and the potential consequences of escalating conflicts. It's a reminder that peace is fragile, and the actions of nations on the world stage have far-reaching implications. As citizens of this interconnected world, it's our responsibility to promote dialogue, understanding, and cooperation amongst nations. In conclusion, our exploration of a hypothetical World War III has provided a glimpse into the potential alliances, the nations that might stay intact, and the profound impact such a war could have on global politics. While we can only speculate about the specifics of such an event, it's clear that World War III would be a game-changer in global politics. Thank you for sticking with us till the end of this thought-provoking journey. If you found this exploration of a hypothetical World War III insightful, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment below and engage in a discussion with other viewers. What are your thoughts on the potential alliances, the nations that might stay intact, and the impact such a war could have on global politics? Your perspective is valuable and we'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. It helps us understand what kind of content you enjoy and helps other people discover our videos. Lastly, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. By subscribing, you'll be joining a community of individuals who are passionate about understanding the complexities of global politics. You'll also be the first to know when we release new videos. So hit that subscribe button and join us on this journey of exploration and understanding. Thank you for your time and for being a part of this conversation. Remember, peace is fragile, and understanding our interconnected world